So sticking with the social media stuff, this was a story that was just interesting to me. Before we actually started doing the Tech John, this is back in June. I remember hearing this story about where Nigeria, the country, banned Twitter
Hmm.
because the president of Nigeria, he actually said some stuff that Twitter thought was this is kind of it's kind of out there. We're going to go ahead and take this down. So what he did was like, you don't like my tweet, you're not going to be able to have Twitter or Twitter in the country anymore.
Right.
So, and it was quick. I mean, it was within days that Twitter was banned within the confines of Nigeria.
Hmm.
And they have just come out with, let's see, Nigeria lists Twitter ban, but demands it is used for business and positive engagements. And I thought this was really, really, really interesting. They're saying that, well, it can come back if it's used for business and positive engagements. But what
Are there
President
any positive
Buhari
engagements on
was
Twitter?
tweeting was not positive engagements nor business like. It was like, yeah, we're going to have to go down south and get these folks. So I'm paraphrasing. That's not what he
Yeah.
said, but that was his sentiment. So I
Couple
want to get you
things.
guys' thoughts on this.
Couple things stand out to me about this. Number one, the fact that he actually used Twitter to get elected and then shut it down once he was in office. I was like, okay, irony much. But then the other thing, one of their complaints about the fact that his tweet got taken down was the double standard, which I kind of low key agree with, because Twitter had been, before they banned President Trump after January 6th, they had been very, very vocal and staunch about the fact that political figures speech is a little bit more protected, quote unquote, than the average person, because they are political figures and we need to know what they're thinking and we need to know what's on their mind. And when Donald Trump, I don't know if he tweeted it or retweeted it, but when the George Floyd protests were happening last year, and something popped up on his account talking about when the looting starts, the shooting starts, and he
Hmm.
was not removed from the platform for that. Basically this Nigerian president said somewhat of the same thing as far as
Hmm.
the people protesting
He
this.
was subtweeting.
Right,
Hmm.
right. Like
Hmm.
we know who y'all are and we're gonna show y'all how we get down, kind of thing. It was the exact same thing. And so
Hmm.
he got banned while President Trump didn't get banned until Muggs was in the Capitol, stealing wine and laptops. So I
Hmm.
think when you look at it like that, that's a very apples to apples comparison, and it was a double standard.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he said kind of like the same thing when the looting starts, the shooting starts, like you said.
I mean, that literally he said the same thing in just different
Right,
words.
right. I'll read the quote for you. Many of those misbehaving. This is the Nigerian president. Many of those misbehaving today are too young to be aware of the destruction and loss of lives that occurred during the Nigerian Civil War. Those of us in the fields for 30 months who went through the war will treat them in the language they understand. So basically, Sub was like, yo, I don't know if y'all want these problems.
Okay, but don't let your mouth write a check your
Yeah,
behind can't cash.
that's
All
Right.
right,
basically the president saying we about to get the straps.
we about to get the
That's
straps.
literally what he just
But
said.
that's what our president said. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? He literally
So
said, and he said it more at least he was eloquent about it. He was very, eloquent. Our president, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. So it's
Right.
just like, what's the difference? What's the
Right.
difference?
Hmm.
So it was just interesting that well, yeah, they're back now, but they've got these things that they've got to adhere to. So the question is, you can really be freedom of speech here to an
Mhm.
extent, but there's other places that they have other rules,
All
and
kind of other stuff.
it's like, okay, how bad is Nigeria hurting because Twitter was down? It probably hurt some, but Twitter's back up,
Right.
and it'll be interesting to see, okay, what exactly did you acquiesce to? Because this is a very business and positive engagements. That's what Twitter is now limited to. That's very, very broad. It basically
And
means that
yeah,
Twitter's turned
that's
back on again.
means
That's
nothing.
basically
It
what that said.
actually, I don't think that means much at all. And
Right.
I think a lot of the people, I love how technologically savvy a lot of the people in Nigeria were, because they just turned to VPNs and got busy anyway.